I'm going to need to hurry. Fuse is blown. This one's no good. Right. Time to open those shutters and get back to the office. If Catherine were here, she'd probably try to wade through it. If Catherine were here, she'd probably arrest me. Mr. Levy. Hello. Good. Now to get back to the office. This is a delivery van. Shirley Downs warned me about Harold's late-night deliveries. The threat in the box said there was something in this office. Perhaps something for my evidence board. Bits and bobs. Nothing interesting. Handy. Could be useful. Not what I was expecting. I'm sure Harold knows why this is so damning. Did Tony Morgan take this? Is that why Harold attacked him? Petrol. Poker night. I've seen these dates before. Police search. Sorted. Must be the phone call I overheard. Food, nothing interesting. Jacking oil prices. Must be hurting business. That's a cliché. Old files, perhaps. Run it into the ground. Can't say I disagree. They're both as bad as each other. Harold's basement is far more vast than I thought. Charlotte, you down there? pump is set to clear the basement of water. Seems to go down to the basement. Now, the police wanted to search the basement, but when they arrived, it was flooded. Now, there's more to the basement than meets the eye. Charlotte May. What's this? I wonder if I can knock it down. Well, I'm too close to stop now. Now, what's this? Oh, this hose needs connecting. It's working. And quickly, too. Damn if it's not loud. Charlotte, if you're down there, I will find you. It worked. Why on earth would Harold have flooded this? Charlotte May. Charlotte, are you down there? What on earth is all this? Cigarettes. Charlotte, can you hear me? It's heavy. Dear God. Please let me be wrong. Please don't be you. It's her. It has to be. I'm too late. What? Chemicals? I don't understand. Why? Did Harold Levy drug Charlotte May? There was a rag found at the crime scene. Is this what was on it? There's no way he would flood his own basement unless he was scared of the police searching it. I need my evidence board. This is far too damning to ignore.
So, you're gonna tell me what you're doing in my garage? Or am I gonna have to evict you too?
Mr. Levy, I was just about to...
Save it. What were you doing in there? Did you find what you were looking for, did you?
Actually, I was looking for you. As soon as I realized you were at home, I came straight out to find you. You can rest assured.
What is it you want, Mr. Conway?
I wanted to talk with you about Charlotte May's disappearance.
Really?
If you're not too troubled to help.
And why the hell would I waste my time talking to you?
Will you answer some of my questions or not?
So it's an interrogation then?
It's me asking you to help Tony Morgan find his missing daughter. Surely you want to help.
Fine. I'll humor you. What do you want?
A statement is all. Where you were the night that Charlotte May was taken. What you were doing, with whom you spoke. That kind of thing.
A statement, you say? Where do you want me to begin?
Tell me, if you would, what you did between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. just before Charlotte May was taken.
Well, I was in my flat for most of the night, except for about 10 o'clock. I went across to the courtyard and locked up the front gate. And, to keep the wrong kind of person out. sometime after that, I heard a noise. Sounded like something strange, but I didn't know what. I guess we all know now, but didn't think much of it at the time.
You're sure you heard a noise at 10 p.m., no later?
A little later, maybe. I was up in my flat by then.
How much later?
Couldn't say.
And what do you think the noise was?
Well, we know what it was, Mr. Conway. A little girl screaming.
You actually heard her scream?
Maybe. Why? Are you trying to catch me out?
I'm trying to understand what you're telling me. I myself did not hear her, and neither did the McKees.
What's your point?
Well, either you heard her and did nothing, or you're mistaken.
Well, maybe I'm thinking of something else then.
You were saying?
Anyway, after about 10 or something, I went up to my flat and made a cup of tea and a sandwich. Corned beef and onion, if I remember. Then about 10:15, I ate it. I hope this is the kind of information you were looking for. I was alone all night, so didn't do anything riveting, I'm sorry to say.
You were alone all night, so no one can back up your story.
No, guess not.
Do you ever have guests, Mr. Levy?
No, not really.
Never.
Where are you going with this?
Well, there's a key on the plant pot outside your door. You must have put it there for someone.
And how did you find that out?
Well, you can see it from the outside. It's plain as day.
I said I was alone that night. You don't believe me?
I'm merely trying to make sense of it all.
Seems simple enough to me, Mr. Conway. Shall I continue, or was there more?
Please.
Anyway, around about 10:30, I was sat upstairs listening to my radio show. Kings in the Nile. But I had no idea what was going on outside, right under everyone's noses. Scary, ain't it? How you could be stood right next to someone capable of that, and you'd never know until it was too late.
It's disturbing, isn't it? Knowing what happened, and so close to your home at that.
Yeah, very disturbing.
Well, you don't seem very affected by it. You'll forgive me for saying.
Will I? What are you saying? That I did it? That I'm capable of doing it because I ain't all broken up on the outside?
I think it's strange when people don't act the way that others expect they will. It makes people feel uneasy.
Am I making you feel uneasy now?
I think that it would be nice to know where you stand on what happened to Mr. Morgan and Charlotte May.
I did time as a young lad. I seen some stuff that'd make you crawl up into a little ball and stay there. So boo-hoo if some guy got a little knock over the head. It's a shame about that girl. It really is. But I've seen worse.
Well, that may be so, but it doesn't excuse the way you act around others. I've seen things too. Horrific things.
Like what?
Well, as a private investigator...
You know what? Forget it. I don't care. Shall I carry on now?
Please, do.
I wish there was more I could tell you. I really do. Must have been about 10:40 to 10:50. I nodded off for a bit, because my mind's a little fuzzy on the details. The newspaper said something about the kidnapper having a key or sneaking in undetected. I think it's a load of old bollocks. And in any case, if I ever did see someone sneaking around here, they wouldn't be walking out, I can tell you. No offense.
I'm curious. How could the kidnapper have come to be in the possession of a key?
Now, I've been thinking about that, And there's a lot of ways someone could have got around it, if they were so inclined.
Please, elaborate.
They could have stolen a key. Maybe they did it before and then locked the gate. Maybe they got a key copied weeks ago and then returned the original.
You have put a lot of thought into that, haven't you?
I've known some types in my time. You'd be amazed how resourceful some folk can be.
Resourceful, deceitful. It's a fine line to tread.
No disagreement there.
Right. Well, please, continue.
Regardless of all that, I'll tell you what I did here that night. The smash. About 11, I'd say. That little girl must have kicked up a right old fuss. God knows how we didn't hear. That's when I turned on my floodlight. I looked out my window. I saw Mr. Morgan. Right there, laying in a puddle of his own blood. It's a wonder he didn't bleed out. I must have just missed who did it. I tell you, that blood ain't coming out my clothes anytime soon.
You say you turned the floodlight on?
Yeah.
Well, why wait until you heard a smash? Why not when you heard the noise from earlier?
Well, I didn't think much of it.
Just think. If you'd turned it on sooner, then you might have scared the attacker off and stopped this entire thing in its tracks.
Your subtle way of saying you think it's my fault, is it?
Well, I can't imagine how you're coping with it.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. I sleep just fine. I deal with it in my own way, Mr. Conway.
And what way would that be?
My own way. Other than that, I don't know what more I can say. We all get what's coming to us, don't we? Anyhow, what if it was me? What are you going to do about it?
Well, for a start, I would have...
Maybe I did do it. Hell, maybe you did it. You could be wasting time questioning me to cover your own back. That would be a funny old turn, wouldn't it?
I have to say, Mr. Levy, we've not spoken this much before, and I find you strangely heartless considering the circumstances. I had imagined you'd feel a little more sympathy for your neighbor and his missing daughter. You say you had nothing to do with it, but I can't help but think...
Go on.
I think you're hiding something. Something to do with Charlotte May. And when this is all said and done, Mr. Morgan will know who helped and who stood in the way of my investigation. I hope to God you had nothing to do with it.
Listen to me. You think you got problems now being in that chair. You keep this kind of thing up, and you're gonna end up hurt. Or worse.
Is that a threat, Mr. Levy?
A warning's what it is.
Well, consider me warned.
It's late, Mr. Conway. Piss off.
During our conversation, Harold Levy was imposing, attempting to intimidate me. It's clear the man does not like me, and the feeling is mutual. I'm certain he's up to no good, and I suspect it has something to do with Charlotte May. The chemicals I found appear to match the crime scene, no question there. There are, however, some things that still remain unanswered. A threatening note in Harold Levy's flat seemed to provoke his attack on Tony Morgan. Is this related to Charlotte May? The note accused Harold of illegal activities, but what evidence here proves it? Harold said he was listening to Kings of the Nile in his flat at 10:50, whilst Charlotte May was being taken. But can I disprove his alibi? That's right. I'm onto something. Now to piece together the rest of it. So, Harold lied to me about his alibi. There was no way he could have been listening to Kings of the Nile on his broken radio. The stolen cars are worrying indeed, but don't seem to be related to Charlotte May. The chloroform-like chemical I found is my only real lead. He must have hidden those bottles for a reason. Ultimately, this is all conjecture. I can't prove he's taken Charlotte May.